choose to remember him. I may not have met him, but I met his daughter, I met her family, and if there any indication of what that man was and what he represented, then I know he's so very proud. Pilots, and especially military pilots, have a bond that surpasses their branches of service or the aircraft they flew. If you're a military pilot and you run across another military pilot, you immediately feel that bond. Just ask Mr. Wayman, Mr. Joe White. I expect I was in church about 10 minutes on our first visit, and we all found each other. The gentleman I choose to remember today was a pilot on one of the most difficult airplanes to fly in the Air Force inventory. I flew an airplane like that. I understand what it's like to fly airplanes that at times you're not fully in control. I know how I had to be sharp to overcome the weaknesses in the design, but when the strengths of the aircraft are explored, that airplane becomes a wonder to fly. I understand that part too. I did a bunch of reading on the airplane and the pilot I choose to remember today. His airplane was a bomber. He was the leader of a crew. The day he gave his life in the service of his country, he was on board his bomber, but he wasn't flying. He was doing what every bomber pilot has done for decades. He was on board, riding one of the additional crew member seats to get an instrument approach to update his night landing currency. I know because I've done it dozens of times myself on the B-52. On that June day in 1945, the war was almost over. The bomber crews were preparing for an all-out offensive against Japan as the war in Europe was over. The crew was focused on the takeoff of the bomber. Something went wrong. The accident report wasn't very specific, but there was a problem, and the airplane never made it into the air. It went off the end of the runway and was destroyed. Several of the crew members made it out of the wreckage, but Bill didn't survive. I didn't know it was called Bill until I touched his headstone yesterday when my Boy Scouts and I were out placing flags on the graves of our veterans out here in the IOF cemetery. You see, the pilot I speak of was Miss Billie Goldstein's dad, Captain Melvin Holman. Miss Billie was just a baby when he was taken away from her, so she never knew him. But I'm sure she heard many stories when she was growing up, and those stories were passed down to her sons, and her son Kyle became an Air Force pilot like his grandpa. Since I've been at this church, Miss Billie's been the cheerleader for all the veterans of Farmersville, organizing services like today, helping out at Autumn Murphy Day, sending packages to those guys that are deployed, checking on their families, and always doing whatever it takes to take care of her boys. So today, in honor of her dad, and to thank her for all she's done for our veterans, I'd like to present her with a small token of our appreciation. Come on up here, Miss Billie. This print's number 21 of only 50 ever made. It shows the airplane in flight in a beautiful blue sky with puffing white clouds, with a crew doing what they do best, probably telling a story and enjoying the view. That's how I choose to remember. The plaque on the front of it states, presented to Miss Billie Goldstein in memory of her father, Captain Melvin Holman, U.S. Army Air Corps, in recognition of her support to all veterans past and present, with love, from the veterans of First United Methodist Church, Farmersville, Texas, Memorial Day 2012. I've got some markers, Miss Pam's got them, and when we're done here today, we're going to put the print up here, and when all the veterans come down and sign the back of it from Miss Bill.